Hello, and welcome to another divorce discussions conversation. And I have somebody who I actually got to meet in person. Well, we didn't really meet in person. We were at the same event in person last year in New Orleans. And the amazing Malcolm Grissom, who I remember was a phenomenal speaker and a very funny guy. So, Malcolm, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marty.
And
Thank you.
tell us a little bit about yourself and your particular area of talent and gifts.
Well, let's see. First thing that I like to share is an interesting fact about me. So I was born on stage, literally. I was born in the backseat of a tiny sports car in the middle of the street while my entire neighborhood watched. And my dad, he came and picked me up and he held me up like the Lion King and he said, "Behold, my son Malcolm, he was born and conceived in the same place." So, that's just one interesting fact about me. Um, I am the anti-bullying comedian. So I have gone through I'm a comedian. Obviously, I have years of I was a stand-up comedian for a number of years. I was a solo performer, award-winning author, international speaker. I'm finding a way to combine all of that to do what I love and what I'm most passionate about, which is to help the world heal from bullying.
Yeah.
And I do that one step at a time with schools, so educators and corporate, the HR, and with parents.
And that's I'm glad that you said that. First of all, thank you for what you're doing. I was a teacher for many years. I was a behavior consultant, and bullying is it's such a prevalent thing in schools. And I'm so thankful that there's some talk now that this is going on in adulthood. It doesn't just end when you get out of elementary school. As a matter of fact, it can be horrible in middle school and high school. And then workplaces, people lose their whole entire careers over bullies. So thank you
Mhm.
for what you're doing.
Thank you for recognizing it.
Why do you think, and I'm putting you on the spot because I know you're not a therapist, and maybe it's not even a therapy question, but why do you think, let's not talk about kids because kids are a little bit different. Why do you think adults who see somebody getting bullied in the workplace don't grow a pair and go over and tell people to stop that kind of behavior?
Well, first of all, there is and I can't think of the psychological term. Um, it's not, I know it's not groupthink, but it's very similar to groupthink. Uh, but there has been studies that have proven that people are more likely to be uh, in um, bystander interveners
Right,
are to speak up when they are alone and not in a group.
right,
Because in a group, people feel judged. So goes back to public speaking. A lot of people, public speaking is said to be the biggest fear in the world. Everybody is afraid, or a lot of people are afraid of public speaking.
right.
Same sort of thing. They think they're being judged. So I think that has a whole lot to do with why white adults are not um, intervening.
Right.
However, there's something else about adults that you don't find with children necessarily. Adults have been programmed um, so much that it's that I'm supposed to take care of myself and my family, right? And that, okay, Jimmy over there is an adult and can therefore take care of himself.
Gotcha.
I should not have to take care of Jimmy.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So there's also a lot of that mindset going on.
Right. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. That's good. And I've heard about that bystander thing before too. I have heard of that and why people don't help people that have been victims of crimes. They'll stand around because they don't want to. So let me ask you a question because a lot of people listening are going to be maybe single parents, typically single moms, but there may be some single dads listening here. And sometimes divorce is a point for kids to start bullying other kids because maybe children are a little more upset or they're more isolated or maybe they need a little more attention at school. So that can make them the target of bullies. So what advice would you give parents who are dealing with a child who is being bullied at school or they fear is being bullied at school?
Well, first of all, one of the biggest the first thing that I do when I am creating a bully-free environment is define who a bully is and why they do it. So a lot of bullies are victims.
Yes.
Bullies are victims.
Right.
Bullies are victims of themselves. They're probably victims of other people too, but they're victims of themselves. Um, when my parents got divorced, they got divorced early on when I was 3, and it was a really nasty divorce. Um, that started my internal bullying, right? Um, and my my illness later in life, which I can get into if there's time, but my experiences in early school age that just compounded the issue of the internal bullying. And so I think a divorced parent, the best thing that they could do is love both parents need to I know you don't get along. You hate this person, right? That you were in love with at one point, but you hate this person, but you love your child and you need to show the love. Both parents need to somehow figure out a way to get together in order to show that love. Because if that student has love, if that child has love, no matter then what happens in school, bullying because, oh, you only have one parent or whatnot, that's going to have less of a sting.
Yeah.
And that child then is going to be able to come home and communicate with the parents that they're living with, or both parents, even
That would be the
about,
ideal, right? Is to be able
yeah,
to share that with both parents.
that
Yeah.
would be the ideal. That would
Yeah.
be the ideal. Yeah.
And I love that message of loving your kids and putting aside the whatever animosity you may have for the other parent and just saying, this is in my child's best interest for us to be civil and respectful to each other and to show our child, we don't live in the same house, but we're still your mom and dad and we still love you or we're still your parents. Yeah.
After all, they parents make a choice. They made a choice to become parents. So regardless of what happens, they've made that commitment.
How, when
So
you're talking to schools, do you find that the kids are pretty responsive to you? Do you get to talk to the children directly, or do you just mostly work with the teachers and the parents?
I prefer to work with teachers and parents. I mean,
Okay.
I love talking to kids. And yes, I think I know where you were going with that. Yes, I mean, I'm an entertainer and I'm very childlike myself. I'm very playful myself, and I connect with children, um, you know,
Just your personality is so, like, I can just see kids just being totally absorbed and listening to what you were saying because of that, because of your
exactly.
delivery and the fact that you're so authentic.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So when
Exactly.
when you're working with the teachers and the parents, do you find that most are pretty receptive to your message, or do you still run into the teachers and the parents who think that, kids just need to be a little tougher?
They don't think that. They don't think, not necessarily. I mean, some of them do. They're still in that old, that's antiquated way of thinking.
That
So
caveman way of thinking.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, sure. There might be some parents that do that, that think that way, but for the most part, when when I'm giving my message, a lot of them are like you. They're very receptive. Oh, yeah, we need to do this.
Right.
Definitely, right? Yes. And um, I do have, I guess my biggest roadblocks are like when we're talking about schools are the fact that there's so much attention that's being put on the the like the stuff on the cake, the icing, so to speak, the grades, the GPA, the STEM scores and all that. That's where all the attention is.
Right.
That's where all the funding goes. And people and schools unfortunately don't think this way, is that if you have this environment, if you establish this environment, teachers want to go to this school, parents want their children to go to this school. Kids are going to do better. They're going to score higher. You're going to be top ranked. You're going to get that funding. It all just starts with the basis, like the
Right.
foundation.
Right.
Build the house. Don't worry about the icing.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what the house looks like yet.
And you know what? When you were saying that, I was just thinking companies now are spending millions of dollars in having corporate consultants come in and help them build a better workplace culture. But
Mhm.
school culture, nobody thinks about. It's like, you're right. Do we have a big, I'm in Texas, do we have a big football field? Do we have a marching band? We don't, and there's not a lot of curriculum out there that's based on, like, Second Step used to be a program when I was teaching school. We used to do Second Step, which started with kindergarten, went all the way through to grade 6, and it was an anti-bullying program that we all taught in our school. But that was like, 15 minutes 3 times a week. That was still it. So
Yeah.
what is, and we're almost out of time, Malcolm, but what do you see a shift? Do you see any light on the horizon here for this, for your efforts for these cultures of anti-bullying in schools?
No. No, honestly, I don't. Um, I don't unless it's packaged differently. And that's what we have to do. And that's what I try to do, is I try to package it differently, as in I'm giving you what you need to fix these items that everybody focuses on.
Right.
Then, if we talk about the bullying and all that, then no, we're going to run into the same problems, 15 minutes, maybe unpaid, almost definitely, that, right, which is not good for anybody.
Right, right. And the one thing that I really thought I'm taking away from what you said is, and this is one thing we used to really kind of hammer home with the behavior consulting, is that those kids that were bullied also have, just like the child that's being bullied, they're really hurting. And it's easy to say, well, let's just punish the bullies. But if they're only doing that because that's the only way they know to interact with people, punishing is just creating more of a problem because now
It
they're mad
is.
at everybody.
Yeah.
We really need to invest time in helping those children learn better social skills. And yeah, so I'm on your bandwagon, Malcolm. I'm totally with you on this.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think what you're doing is fantastic. I know it seems like a long uphill journey, but I think the more people that are speaking about it and calling it out, it's only going to be positive for everybody. So wonderful job.
So, thank you.
And Malcolm, if people want to find out more about what you're doing, and or is there a website or a program, if there's somebody listening in that's part of their pack or something at their school and thinks, I'd like to find out more about what he does, is there any way to
Sure.
get hold of you?
So my website is Malcolm Grissom. So that's Malcolm as in Malcolm X, Malcolm, Malcolm X, and then Grissom as in Gus Grissom, Grissom. Malcolm Grissom is my website, malcolmgrissom.com. And my email is quite simply malcolm@malcolmgrissom.com.
Great. And so I'm guessing you are available if people want to book you for speaking events or to come and do a presentation to their school or work at their school district.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yay.
Yes. Yeah, or even with a parent, even if a parent, um, for instance, just saw me, their child is having problems with bullying at school and they don't know how to deal with it. Sure, contact me and I will work with you.
Thank you so much. And keep up the great work, Malcolm, because what you're doing is absolutely so important. And even if you just reach one child, you have made such a difference in that one child's life. So thank you for being on here. Thank you for sharing your ideas. And definitely, if you are listening and you're dealing with a bully or you're concerned about how your child is reacting to being bullied, please reach out to Malcolm. And like I said, he's a great guy to help you out. So Malcolm, take care. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Marty.